You know, some careers are pretty much a straight line, but others, they're a story about solving bigger and bigger problems. So let's dive into the career of Bhaskara Kumar Hariharan because it's an incredible journey from automotive giants all the way to deep space startups, all built on mastering the art of making incredibly complex systems just work.
All right, let's just start with a number that's going to grab you. $100 million. That's how much money he saved for a single company. No, that's not a typo. It's a headline achievement, and honestly, it sets the stage for everything else we're about to talk about.
So right away, you have to ask, right? How is that even possible for one person? And look, it's not like it was one magic decision. It's about a systematic, hands-on approach to mastering some of the most complicated systems on the entire planet. And that is the story we're going to unpack.
So where does a story like this even begin? Well, it starts where so many modern products do, deep in the world of global supply chains. Bhaskara really forged his foundation at two of the biggest names you can think of in the auto industry, Ford and Toyota, learning the nuts and bolts of moving millions of parts all around the world.
And we're talking about a journey that spans over 17 years. As you can see from his own words, his work has this incredible breadth, from cars to rockets and pretty much everything in between. You see, it's that diverse foundation that makes this whole story so unique.
Okay, so let's zoom in on his decade at Ford. The challenge here wasn't just managing a supply chain. He was trying to tame this absolute beast of global scale. I mean, just try to imagine what it takes to get parts from hundreds of suppliers to factories and then to customers across an entire continent.
And if you're wondering what global scale actually looks like, well, here are the numbers. I mean, this is not some small-time operation. We're talking about managing exports to 10 different countries for more than 135 suppliers, shipping over 120 containers every single week, all from a warehouse that's 150,000 square feet. That's the level of complexity we're dealing with here.
So how on earth do you even begin to tackle something that big?
Well, the answer is not from an office chair. He was on the ground leading workshops in 6 different countries, heading up a team of over 130 people, physically getting in there and redesigning warehouse layouts for better flow and bringing in tech like robotic process automation to make the whole system smarter. This was real, boots on the ground, hands-on leadership.
And you want to see a key result? Check this out. Before he got started, shipping containers were, on average, really about 67% full. Think about all that wasted space, all that wasted money. After his initiatives, that number jumped to 89%. That single jump is a massive increase in efficiency, and it directly saves millions in shipping costs.
So all of those actions, the workshops, the redesigns, the new tech, the leadership, they all started to add up. And that's where that $100 million number we started with comes from. Over $100 million in savings in just 4 years for Ford's Asia-Pacific operations, a direct result of smart, focused, strategic optimization.
Okay, so you've pretty much mastered one of the most complex supply chains on Earth. What's next? What's the encore? Well, for Bhaskara, the answer was to pivot to a totally new frontier, taking all those skills and applying them to the challenge of building rockets at a space tech startup.
I mean, let's really put this shift into perspective, okay? The auto industry is all about massive volume, refining processes that are already known, and focusing on cost. Aerospace, especially at a startup, is the exact opposite. Every single part is mission critical, you're exploring brand new frontiers of technology, and the demand for precision is just absolute. It is a totally, fundamentally different ballgame.
And the stakes? They are literally astronomically higher. In the auto world, a late part means a delay on the assembly line. Annoying, but manageable. In the space world, the wrong part or a late part, that could mean total, catastrophic mission failure. There are no do-overs.
So he found himself right in the thick of something called New Product Introduction, or NPI. This is the absolutely critical process of taking a brand new, super complex product, in this case a rocket, from just an idea to an actual reality. It's like conducting a perfect symphony between the designers, the manufacturers, and the supply chain.
And just look at the kind of challenges he was facing now. We are a million miles away from car doors and bumpers here. We're talking about sourcing advanced composites and aluminum honeycomb, collaborating on 3D printed metal rocket engines, and managing the creation of something as critical as the payload fairing. That's the nose cone that protects the satellite.
So the big question is, did all those skills from the auto industry actually translate? Well, this number right here answers that with a resounding yes. On one of the most critical projects, that payload fairing, he delivered a 45% reduction in both the cost and the time it took to get it done.
That is a game-changing impact, and it proved that the principles of strategic management work anywhere, even when you're building rockets.
Which brings us to the next and maybe most fascinating chapter in his career. After mastering the physical supply chains for cars and rockets, he evolved again, this time to lead digital transformation, actually architecting the software products that solve these real physical world problems.
See, he's now working right on the cutting edge of the car world, focusing on what everyone calls case mobility. That's an acronym for connected, autonomous, shared, and electrified. Basically, the four huge trends that are completely rewriting the rulebook for what a car even is.
And you better believe his personal toolkit has evolved right along with it. We're not just talking about containers and warehouses anymore. Now his tools are things like big data, AI, the Internet of Things, and machine learning. He's building the digital solutions that are going to power the future of how we get around. So, what kind of problems does he solve now? Here's a perfect real-world example. You have a service warehouse, and it has to validate thousands of parts to meet super strict government rules. Doing it by hand is slow, it costs a ton of money, and people make mistakes. It's a classic physical world headache, just begging for a smart digital solution. So what was the solution? He led the charge to build a mobile app that uses data science and machine learning to completely automate that validation process. And the result? A mind-blowing 98% accuracy rate. He built a digital product that went out and solved a complex real-world operational challenge.
So when you step back and look at this entire journey, what do you actually see? You see what you'd have to call a 360-degree product leader. He's someone who doesn't just understand the physical world of atoms or the digital world of bits. He has deep, hands-on experience in bringing the two together. This, right here, is what I'd call his value stack. First, he mastered the incredibly complex physical world of supply chains. Then, he took that mastery and applied it to drive high-stakes strategy where failure just wasn't an option, the world of aerospace. And now, he's building on all of it to lead and create the digital products that will define our future.
And that's what makes his experience so incredibly rare and powerful. He's that rare leader who genuinely understands the grit and grime of the factory floor, but can also speak the language of cloud servers and AI. He knows how things are made, how they're moved, and how to manage it all with intelligent software.
And all of this really leaves us with one big final thought. As our world becomes more and more of a fusion between physical things and digital systems, smart factories, autonomous cars, the really crucial question is, who's actually going to build that future? Well, it's going to be leaders exactly like this, the ones who can speak both languages fluently.